Hey guys, it's Kevin Youngsmore for Game of Thrones Season 5, Episode 7, The Gift. And oh my god, guys, this episode, perfect title too, because this episode was pretty much a gift to me, and I'll tell you guys why. Everything I've wanted this season happened in this episode, especially that ending. Oh my god, I'm so happy that happened. You guys know what happened finally. But, this episode was just perfect. It really was. And honestly, I know people have been complaining about this season, but this is what I've wanted from Game of Thrones. I've loved this season, but this is what I've been waiting for. This is the payoff that I said would come. Everything that happened in this episode was absolutely amazing. I loved everything that happened. It was so satisfying. Oh my god. Everything that happened was so satisfying, and this might be one of my favorite episodes of Game of Thrones of all time. I'm gonna be completely honest. I mean, there's stuff that happened in this episode that I've been wanting to happen for seasons and seasons, and finally it happened, and let's get in this episode because it was absolutely amazing. The slow pacing of this season has finally stopped. We are now to the point where we want things to happen, and a lot of shit went down this episode, and I love that. So, we start off with the Night's Watch. Now, I thought this episode was mainly going to focus on the Night's Watch. That's what it looked like it was going to. But it actually doesn't. It focuses on a shit ton of things, honestly, as usual. But basically, Men of the Night's Watch, they're preparing for the coming journey, and Tormund is escorted into the yard where Jon Snow orders his shackles removed, and Jon passes command of Castle Black to Alistair Thorne while he's away, and basically Thorne makes sure that Thorne makes sure that Jon knows what a terrible idea he thinks this mission is. Of course, Jon's mission is to go to Winterfell and to ally with the people from what do you call it? From Winterfell. That's what he wants to do. He wants to ally with the people from Winterfell. And, of course, they all think it's a terrible idea. So I like that we still have this conflict going on, but it's not stopping Jon. He's going to do this because he thinks it's the right thing to do. And as I said, Jon has an agenda, and this agenda that he wants, that's what he's going to do. There's nothing they can do to stop him. This is what Jon is going to do. And basically, Sam wishes Jon safe travels, hands Jon a pack with a dragon glass Sam used to kill a White Walker, and Sam and Gilly bring the baby to see Maester Aemon, who is sick in bed, and that's the only scene we see of Jon. So Jon's out to basically go to Winterfell and ally with the Wildlings and see how that all works. So, basically, then a lot of that focused on Sam and Gilly, which I will get to, but then we get to this scene that was absolutely amazing. This might have been one of Sophie Turner's best scenes in the show, I have to say. This scene was amazing, because we see that Theon brings food to Sansa, and she's all curled up in bed, and just as I suspected, Sansa is miserable with Ramsey, which is understandable. I mean, he's abusing her, and she insists on calling Theon his real name, but he's like, no, I'm Reek, and you really see the pain that, what Ramsey has done to Theon. I mean, he's so weak that he doesn't even want to be called Theon anymore, and she tells him how she's locked in her room every day until Ramsey comes home at night, and she's just tired of it. She's tired. I mean, she never thought this is what she was in for, and Sansa tells Theon that she still has friends in the north and begs Theon to light the signal in the tower. She tries to remind him who he is and makes him promise to light the signal, but he's just like, no, I'm Reek, that's who I am. And Theon walks through Winterfell, and it's such a sad scene, I have to say. I love this bonding, though, between Theon and Sansa. That's something I've been waiting for all season as well. So Theon walks through Winterfell with a candle in his hand up the tower to Ramsay's dining room, and Brienne stands sentry waiting for a signal. When Brienne was there, I was like, holy shit, Brienne is there. Because, of course, Brienne is going to see if Sansa's okay, which obviously Sansa's not okay. Brienne actually predicted that Sansa's not okay. Even though she said it seemed like Sansa was okay, she's not okay. I mean, Ramsay is not a good husband to her. He's abusing her. He's locking her up there. I mean, all of these signs are just of an abusive relationship. Really, it is. And so Aemon lies in bed, having memories of his brother Egg, and it was kind of a sad scene, because Gilly tells Sam to get some sleep, because Sam will have to speak for Aemon in the morning, and Aemon says that, Egg, I dreamed that I was old, and I thought that was a really good scene. I definitely really liked that, and in the morning, Sam leads a ceremony to burn Aemon's body, because, of course, Aemon has died, and basically he gives a whole "and now his watch has ended" speech, which, of course, you get that speech, that means the person has died, and Thorne points out that Sam is losing all of his friends, which is really sad. Honestly, Sam is losing all his friends, which I hope that this really isn't predicting Sam's death, because that line just kind of makes me think maybe Sam's going to die, but I'm not really sure. Again, I don't know who dies in the books and who doesn't, and I don't know who they're planning on killing off, but Sam could be a really good person to kill off, but at the same time, I really don't want them to kill off Sam, because I really do love Sam and Gilly, I have to say. So I thought that was a really good scene. I definitely really like that. I just hope that doesn't mean that Sam is, sign up for death. I hope that's not true. So Sansa walks the parapets at Winterfell and meets Ramsey, and Ramsey tells Sansa what low expectations he had when his father first told him he was marrying. And basically, he tells her that Stannis is riding toward Winterfell, but that the snowstorm that settled in should help them defend Winterfell. Because, of course, he doesn't realize that Stannis intends to ally with them. He doesn't realize that. So basically, Ramsey says that he'll one day be Warden of the North, but Sansa pointedly notes that Roos's child with Walda would likely be next in line of inheritance. That's what would make sense. And he notes that bastards can rise high, and tells her that Jon is Lord Commander of the Night's Watch now. And I mean, here's the thing, Ramsey, you can't get everything you want. Even though you think you can't get everything you want. And I think Ramsey is definitely in for a reality check. I don't know when, but I'm pretty sure that Ramsey's in for a reality check, because he seems to think he's much more powerful than he is. The only reason he is marrying Sansa because his father told him to. That is the only reason. Like, he wasn't the one who illustrated. Roose is the one that really is the powerful one. Ramsey has not done shit. I mean, he tortured Theon. He did all that. He needs to get his, comeuppance somehow. So he then shows her the chamber woman who had been kind to her, flayed, and tells her to hold on to her candles. So Stannis' men are camped out, shivering in the cold, and Davos fills Stannis in on how much the storm is weakening their force, and Davos counsels that this is not the time for an attack. Their force is so weak that they can't attack right now. And Stannis tells Davos that he can't retreat again after retreating at King's Landing, and Stannis says the time is now, and they march to victory or they march to defeat. And I think that's a really good line, because it really is true. I mean, either they're winning or they're going to lose here. So he turns to Melisandre and says he trusted her, and Melisandre reminds him that they both saw in the flames a great battle in the snow. Of course, he knows what Melisandre did with Jon, and I like I said, I was happy that Jon told Stannis what happened, and of course, he doesn't trust Melisandre right now, because Melisandre was with him, and yet she went to Jon. So Melisandre says sometimes a sacrifice must be made to achieve victory, and she suggests using the king's blood in Shireen, saying he must become king before the long night begins. Now, I knew that the second that she said that there was no way that Stannis was going to do that, because obviously, Stannis thinks of Shireen like his own daughter. He treats her like a daughter. He's treated her like that. He's not going to just abandon Shireen. There's no way he's going to do that. So, Stannis, Stannis obviously kicks her out of the tent. He's not going to listen to her. He doesn't want to listen to what she has to say. So, two men of the Night's Watch harass Gilly. Sam shows up with a sword in hand, reminds the two men that they have guard duty. They shove Gilly aside, and I love how protective Sam is of Gilly. It's something I've always loved. I just love the relation between Sam and Gilly. It really is cute. We get some of the best scenes between Sam and Gilly in this episode. This was a great Sam episode. Not just a great Sam and Gilly episode, but a great Sam episode. Sam, I think, is a very overlooked character. I don't think he gets enough stuff, but here he gets some really good stuff, I have to say. And I'd love to see Sam get more stuff like this. So they beat Sam while he's down, then move to take Gilly. Sam gets up on his feet. Despite the beating, the men approach Sam, but then luckily Jon walks in the room growling. The men run off, and of course they're afraid of Jon, so the men run off and Sam passes out, and Gilly gets him into bed and tends to his busted up face. And we get probably the cutest scene I've seen of Sam and Gilly. I love this scene. Sam promises to take care of both Gilly and little Sam. And Sam, basically, because she wants to make sure that he is there to take care of their child. And Sam asks Gilly to stay with him. Gilly begins kissing him, then straddles him, and they have sex. And I thought it was a really sweet scene. Especially because most of the sex scenes are not very sweet. I thought it was nice to actually have a nice sex scene for once. That's something I definitely like seeing. So, of course, Tyrion and Jorah, at the end of last week's episode, they were captured by pirates, and they very quickly get out of this, which I love seeing. I like that they didn't drag this out for too long. That's something I definitely like seeing. Malco brings Tyrion and Jorah to market to auction off. Jorah is sold first. Tyrion insists that the buyer must purchase him as well, saying that he and Jorah are a team, and that he's a good fighter, and he beats up the servant holding his chains to prove the point, and the man purchases Tyrion as well. So, I thought that was really interesting. So, Daenerys and Daario share a bed, discuss her impending marriage to his Dar. Daario isn't really happy about it, obviously, because he likes Daenerys, and he suggests that Daenerys marry him instead, and I'm just like, well, why not? I mean, you two clearly like each other, but Daenerys says that she just can't. She can't do that. She has to marry his daughter, and she's not going to say no to him. So Daario makes a last suggestion, gathering all the masters on the day of the Great Games and slaughtering them, which basically Daenerys says, I love that she's like, I'm not a butcher, which I thought was kind of funny, and Daario says all rulers are either butchers or me, which honestly is pretty much true. I mean, think about the rulers we've had. For example, Tommen, who doesn't really want to do anything, he kind of is meat. I think he's in danger of dying. So I think what basically Daario is saying is that if you're not willing to fight, you're gonna die. That's really what he's saying. So even though Daenerys doesn't want to fight people, she has to fight people or else she's gonna die. It's that simple. I don't think they're planning on killing Daenerys this season, but I do agree with Daario saying that this is a time where you need to step up and fight. Like, you can't say no to fighting. If you have a choice, you have to fight. You can't not fight or else you're gonna die. It's that simple. So, Lady Oleena, I loved Lady Oleena in this episode. She was so funny, honestly. That's something I love about Lady Oleena is how funny she is. She really adds some great comedic relief to the show, and it's great to have Lady Oleena back. And I love what they did with her in this episode, because Oleena approaches the High Sparrow, and I like that she's like, the High Sparrow, the Great Scepter, or whatever you are. I thought that was hilarious. She calls him on the Man of the People Act, pointing out that he's just doing Cersei's dirty work, which, yeah, he is basically doing Cersei's dirty work. I mean, whatever Cersei wants him to do, he does. That's really what it is. Basically, he's kind of like, Cersei's like his little, he's like Cersei's parrot, basically. Whatever Cersei wants him to do, he does. I mean, there's no, like, he doesn't do anything on his own, and I like what Oleena says to him, because honestly, I completely agree with what she's saying. She tries to buy him, but the Sparrow says that he only serves the gods, and Oleena threatens to stop sending food to King's Landing, but the Sparrow says that they are the many, and they will soon stop fearing the few. And I like how she talked about how bad Cersei is, but yet Loras is the one, that's in trouble right now, and he hasn't done anything except had sex with some man, which really is nothing compared to the stuff that Cersei did. I mean, think of the things that Cersei has done, and I'm just like, yes, finally, we are recognizing that Cersei has done some terrible, awful things, and I love that. So, basically, Oleena receives a message as she leaves, and Tommen, meanwhile, is so upset about what happened to Margarey, which is understandable, and I love Tommen's acting in the scene, I have to say. I thought the guy who plays Tommen, a very good actor, definitely. He basically is so distraught, he says he can do nothing about it. I mean, the fact that the queen is in prison, that he loves her, and there's nothing he can do about it, it really does stress him out, and I honestly do feel bad for Tommen. I mean, even though he hasn't really done anything as a king, you have to feel bad for him because this is his true love, and who he truly does care about, and even though he really has done nothing as a king, there is nothing he can do about it. I mean, in this case, there is nothing he can do about it, and Cersei counsels acceptance. I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about, Cersei? Tommen wants to start a war. I do like Cersei's point here, that if he were to do that, Margarey would be the first to die. I do agree with what she says there, because Margarey, of course, the target right now. I do agree with that. Now, of course, I'm tired of Cersei. I will say I am tired of Cersei hating on Margarey. Margarey has done nothing. Yes, she fell in love with Tommen. Who cares if she's much older than him? Really, who cares about that? I don't care that Tommen and Margarey are, like, so much older. He loves her. She loves him. Let them be in love. It's that simple. And I don't understand why Cersei can't just let them be in love. It's stupid. So, Tommen says he loves Margarey. Tommen wants to talk to the High Sparrow, but Cersei volunteers to do so on his behalf. I'm like, no, don't do that. Like, we know what you're gonna do. You're gonna try to get things to work your way, because you don't want things to go because if things don't go because God forbid things don't go your way, you're just pissed about it, and God forbid, Cersei, things don't go your way. Oh my God, things aren't going Cersei's way. It's such a problem. Like, I can't stand that about Cersei. She always wants things to go her way, and it's so fucking annoying, and I hate it. I can't stand that Cersei always wants things to go away. Luckily, that finally stops toward the end of this episode, which I will get to, which is awesome, and I will definitely talk about it, but basically, I thought that was a really good scene. Even though I can't stand Cersei, I still thought that was really great. Especially because Tommen, I think, has been a very quiet actor. For him to get that one really big scene, I thought that was awesome. So Jaime sits in a luxurious cell in Dorne, and Ario brings Myrcella to him. And Jaime says that Dorne is too dangerous. Now, of course, we know that he was going to talk to Myrcella, but he didn't get a chance to because of that whole fight that happened. And I really liked this storyline between Myrcella and Jaime. First of all, she doesn't really recognize him at first. And I liked how he talked about, how he had one less hand and how he had a lot more hair. It really shows how far Jaime has come. So Jaime says that Dorne is too dangerous now, and he's come to take Myrcella home for Cersei, but she insists that she loves Trystane, and she wants to be with Trystane, that Dorne is her home, and that says they'll be married and remain in Dorne. There's really nothing he can do about that. The problem is, maybe here's what Jaime could do. Maybe take Trystane with them and just marry in King's Landing. I mean, I don't see a problem with that. Obviously, Cersei would have a problem with that. But here's the thing, like, why is that such a problem? Why can't we just take Trystane, bring him to King's Landing? I mean, Trystane, he's not dangerous. It's just Dorne that's dangerous. If they get out of Dorne and take Trystane with them, that might be the best thing to do. I don't know if that's not possible. I mean, maybe I sound like an idiot, but me personally, I don't see why that's really a problem. I mean, yeah, I know that there are these two people watching Trystane and Myrcella, but just because they're watching them, if they get out of Dorne, are they really going to follow them? Like, what's going to happen? I'm not really sure. I don't see why she can't just marry Trystane and then go to King's Landing where they're safe, because that's really where they're safe right now, is King's Landing. Although Jaime has no idea of the, basically all the danger that awaits them at King's Landing, because King's Landing's not better than Dorne. It's that simple. King's Landing is no better, really, at this point. So, I really do like that plot. I think it's really well done. I really like the way they did that. So Bronn is singing from his much less luxurious cell, and the Sand Snakes sit in a separate cell. Because, of course, the Sand Snakes and Bronn, they got in that whole fight last week, and I thought this was a really interesting scene here, because we see Tyene applauds his Bronn singing, and she asks about Bronn's arm, begins seducing him through the bars and undressing herself, and Bronn's vision becomes very fuzzy, and his nose starts bleeding, he falls to the ground. I'm just like, what? Why is this happening to him? Well, we find out that her dagger, basically Tyene's dagger, but I think her name is Tyene, something like that. She reveals that her dagger was coated with the poison from Ashi, the Long Goodbye, which causes death over a long period of time. She wears the antidote around her neck, and she gets him to call her the most beautiful woman in the world. Then she tosses in the antidote, and he drinks it. So clearly she has him under some sort of spell. I don't really know what's going on with her. Maybe she's a witch. I don't know. I mean, we did see that character in episode 1, so maybe she's like that. I mean, I definitely feel like she's not normal. There definitely is something else about her. I don't know if she is a witch, but she definitely has him under some sort of spell or something, because that's really weird that she just got him to call her the most beautiful woman in the world. I mean, that's just really creepy right there. So I really don't know what's going on with Bronn, but I really feel Bronn is in danger right now. I mean, that is really, really shady what she did. Really, it is, and I really feel like he's in danger now. So then we get to the 3 best scenes of the episode. These last 3 scenes were so awesome, and I love where the show is going after these last 3 scenes. They were awesome. So, Littlefinger surveys the damage done to his establishment, and there are 7 pointed stars on the walls, and Lady Oleena meets him there. Now, Lady Oleena is angry that Littlefinger didn't return to King's Landing before things went wrong. And basically, she kind of tells him that she killed Joffrey, which I thought was really interesting. Now, I don't know if he already knew, or if she just straight out told him, or if he just put it together. I mean, I'm not really sure. So, Olena's angry that Littlefinger didn't return, and Littlefinger tells Oleena about what Cersei summoned him for, but then offers her a gift. And basically, it's the same gift he offered Cersei, which is a handsome young man, which I think is really interesting that he said that. So, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Littlefinger and Oleena, they're going to pair up together to take down Cersei. I mean, I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen there. So, I mean, I'm just kind of wondering, does Littlefinger know that Oleena killed Joffrey? Is that going to be a good thing that she told him? Is this going to backfire on him? I mean, Littlefinger could report this back to Sansa, and this could work out perfectly for them. Because obviously Littlefinger is really tight with Sansa right now. Does he know where Sansa is? I don't know. I think he ditched Sansa. I'm pretty sure he ditched Sansa. I don't know if he's going back to if he's going back to Winterfell where Sansa is. I'm not really sure. But I'm pretty sure that he's going to bring this information to Sansa somehow. He has to, because obviously Sansa's been wrongfully accused of killing Joffrey. She never killed Joffrey, and if, she gets this information, she might be able to hold this against Lady Oleena, and Lady Oleena, I think she honestly would do this for Sansa. I really do. I think she did this to protect Sansa because what does she have going for her? I mean, she's really old. I think that her point of view is like, she's really old. She knows that she could be in trouble, but she really doesn't care because it's for Sansa and she wants to do this for Sansa. And I think that's really sweet that she does want to do that for Sansa. So I really like that. And then we get to a scene that I've been waiting for all season. You guys have no idea how long I have been waiting for this. Seriously. These last two things I've been waiting so much for. Especially Leolina is one of them, but these two things in particular, oh my god, I can't wait. I can't believe that we finally saw them. Because Jorah and Tyrion are being prepared for training. Jorah isn't called with the first batch and awaits his turn. And Daenerys is there. She visits the lower pit where Jorah, known to her, is located, a part of Myrcella's tradition. And Jorah hears the slaves salute the queen and steals a look at her from his quarters, and the fighting is really brutal. It's a really brutal fight scene, I have to say. I mean, but luckily Daenerys moves to leave, and Hizdar halts her, and Jorah grabs his gear, heads down to the arena, striking down his master as he does so. He begins taking out all the other fighters. The other fighters are in a waiting room, leave Tyrion behind to join the fray. And Tyrion begins filling away at his chains, and basically, he's filing away at his chains to find a way to break out of there. And a guard breaks them for him, and Jorah emerges victorious and mats himself in front of Daenerys. And yes, Daenerys and Tyrion, the first interaction here was awesome. She orders him taken from his sight, but Jorah says he's brought her a gift, and there is Tyrion. And this was so fucking awesome. You guys have no idea how much I have been wanting to see this scene, because he's just there, and he's like, I've been waiting for you, I am Tyrion, and she just has this look on her face, and honestly, yes, it is a good gift for her, because he can help the fighting pits, maybe she's gonna help him. In many ways, she's a gift for him, because Tyrion doesn't really have a purpose right now, he's not really in the best state right now, and I think Daenerys is really gonna motivate him. I can't wait to see what she decides to do with Tyrion, because obviously they're gonna team up. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I cannot wait to see what happens there. That was awesome. Just when I think the episode's over, we get one of the most awesome scenes I think we have ever gotten in the show. This is something that I have been waiting for the entire series. Not just this season, the entire series. Seriously, I have been waiting for this, and finally it's happened. Cersei visits Margarey and Myrcella in the Great Sept, and Cersei feigns concern. Like, she doesn't give two shits about her. She's pretending she cares, which she really doesn't. Margarey lets her know that she knows who's behind this and screams at her to leave, and you can tell she's pissed at Cersei. She knows that Cersei's the one behind this, and I love that. I like that Margaery's not an idiot. She knows that Cersei did this to her. She knows that Cersei wants this to happen. So Cersei walks back through the halls of Great Septon. She finds the High Sparrow waiting for her, and I'm just like, what is he going to do here? Because obviously Lady Oleena told him to go against Cersei and work for her, so I was really wondering what he was going to do here. So he says that Margarey and Loras will both have a trial with 7 Septons as judges, and if they can confess, and I think this is a good idea, if they can confess before the trial, they will receive the Mother's mercy, whatever they may mean in relation to their crimes, and the Sparrow begins sharing the history of the chapel where they stand and testing Cersei's own knowledge, and he notices how simple and solid it is compared to the glided Great Septon above, and he says the same will be done to the Tyrells and everything else. He asks what they'll find when they strip away Cersei's finery, and he says a young man came to them not long ago, shared a great many things that have been weighing on his soul. He says the man had much to say about Cersei, and this was fucking awesome. Lancel literally enters the chapel. Cersei turns to leave, but his sister grabs hold of her, takes her away. They lock her in a cell beneath the Great Septon, and Cersei is in prison. She has no say anymore, and finally she is getting what she deserves. And I literally clapped the screen like, finally, yes! You guys know how much I can't stand Cersei. All of that bad shit she has done, all of the bad decisions she's made, that's finally catching up to her, and I love that. I think this is really going to help. Honestly, I think this is going to help Cersei mature. I don't think Cersei ever will, but maybe this will really put Cersei in her place. Cersei needs this reality check. She needs this. She really needs to see that she's not such hot shit. She's not. I mean, really. Not everything she wants is going to happen to her, and this really shows that. I love that they just turned against her and basically just said, look, we're doing this. You have no say over this, because really she doesn't. And I think that, because if they wouldn't have done that, she probably would have argued with the High Septon and be like, no, 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 no. We are giving Loras a trial. That's it. Margaery is not getting a trial. So I understand why she really wanted that. So I thought that was awesome, and I love that Cersei finally is getting this happen to her. But what an amazing episode this was. Seriously, there's so much to talk about. First of all, what is going to happen to Cersei now she's in prison? I definitely think this might help Cersei, or maybe it won't help Cersei. Either way, I don't care. Honestly, I want Cersei dead at this point. I really hope Cersei dies from this, because that would be so awesome. If they just killed off Cersei from this, that could be awesome. Let's talk about Margarey. What's going to happen with Margarey now? I think Margarey is going to be saved now. I think Margarey is going to have a lot more of a say. Are they really going to go to war? Is Tommen really going to declare war over what happened to Margarey? I don't know, but that's going to end up terrible, because obviously Cersei said last week that if they started Lannisters versus Tyrell, I mean, that definitely is going to happen. I definitely feel like that is going to happen. Definitely, I feel like that's going to happen. I can't stop it. We do know that the Starks are still, that Brienne is coming after Cersei and all them, so definitely we're going to get to that, and I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen there. Also, I feel like maybe they'll be able to make King's Landing strong again, because obviously the thing that made King's Landing not strong is Cersei. She's an idiot. She thinks that, of course, Tyrion's a fugitive. She thinks all this terrible shit, and maybe they'll be able to make sense now. Honestly, Lady Oleena might be the best person to take over King's Landing. Even though she killed Joffrey, she really did the right thing in killing Joffrey, because he was the last person that really listened to Cersei. And I think, honestly, people aren't going to listen to Cersei anymore, and I love that. Are Littlefinger and Oleena going to ally? I don't really know. Is Littlefinger going to bring this information back to Sansa? Because obviously he knows that Lady Oleena killed Joffrey, so is he going to bring that back to Sansa? I'm not really sure. I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen there. Let's talk about Jorah and Tyrion. I am very interested in seeing what Tyrion is going to do with Daenerys. Obviously, Jorah said it's going to bring her a gift. Is this going to make Jorah, is Daenerys going to let Jorah come back? Obviously she banished him, so is he possibly going to come back, and maybe they'll make amends and fix things there? Is Tyrion going to get those two to reconcile? I could definitely see Tyrion maybe being a peacemaker. I could definitely see it happening. I mean, Tyrion's always been someone to be, like, a peacemaker and always done things peacefully, and that's something I've always loved about Tyrion. Yeah, he's a badass, and yeah, he does do violent things when he needs to, but most times he is very quiet about things. And especially this season, Tyrion felt very, not out of character, just not himself. He hasn't been himself, and I think really Daenerys is going to help him, and I think maybe he'll be able to help Jorah as well, so we'll see what happens there. Bronn is in danger. I don't know what's going to happen to Bronn, but I am very worried about Bronn. Is Tyene like a witch or something? I don't trust Tyene one bit. I don't know what is going on with her, but I know that Bronn's in danger. I don't know what kind of danger awaits him, but he is definitely in some sort of danger, and I'm very worried about what's going to happen there. I guess we'll have to see. Why can't Myrcella and Trystane just get married? As I said, why can't they just get married, and then everything will be okay if they just get married, and then Jaime will basically be able to just bring them back to King's Landing? That might just be the best thing to do. Is that the best thing to do? I mean, should they just stay in Dorne? I mean, really, do you think that's a good thing to do if Myrcella and Trystane just get married? I don't really see why that's a problem. Is that a problem? I'm not really sure. Maybe there's something else I'm just not understanding. You guys can tell me if there's something else I'm just not getting that I should. I just personally think it might be a good idea if they did that. Also, what's going to happen with Night's Watch? I'm definitely interested in seeing what's going to happen there, because obviously Jon is going to try to ally with Winterfell, but we don't know if they really want him to do that. We'll have to see what happens with Sam and Gilly. I really love Sam and Gilly in this episode. I thought they were really well done. What's going to happen with Stannis? Because obviously their force is very weak now. So is Jon going to possibly help them? Maybe Jon will try to convince Stannis this is the right thing to do. Because obviously he never really talked to Stannis on if he wanted to ally with Winterfell or not. Because as we know, Stannis wants to go after them. But maybe Jon's going to convince him that might be the best thing to do to ally with them. So I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen there as well. And finally, Sansa. Let's talk about Sansa. Obviously, we know that Brienne is there. We know that Brienne is there for Sansa. I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen if they meet up and everything. What's going to happen with Sansa and and Ramsey. Obviously, Ramsey thinks that he's such hot shit, but I really feel that Jon is going to get there. He's going to put Ramsey in his place, say, look, Ramsey, you are not as tough as you are. You think you're this really tough person, but you are not as strong as you think you are, and I can't wait to see what happens there. That's going to be awesome to see if Jon really does put Ramsey in his place. But overall, guys, what an amazing episode. I absolutely loved this episode. This was such an amazing episode. This is the episode I've been waiting for all season. Seriously, I've loved this season, but it's been such a slow burn that this is exactly what I've been waiting for. Finally, we are done with the slow pace shit. Everything is getting really fast. Cersei's in prison right now. I mean, Tyrion met up with Daenerys. Oleena told Littlefinger the truth about her killing Joffrey. Now they're possibly going to ally together. Cersei is no longer controlling King's Landing. I mean, stuff is happening. I told you guys, this is eventually going to pay off, and now it really is, and I absolutely love that finally we are getting that payoff that I've wanted all season. And it's not so much that it's been a bad season, it really hasn't. It's just been very, very slow, and finally we were getting back to what I really wanted. It's not, again, it's not that I haven't liked this season, I really have. It has definitely felt very different, though, much slower than it has. This is what Game of Thrones needs to be. I loved this episode. I can't wait to see what happens in the next episode. Seriously, I cannot wait for these final 3 episodes. I know they're going to be amazing. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm really excited to see what's going to happen next. This is big. I have to say, Cersei getting imprisoned is the Tyrion's trial of Season 5. Like, Tyrion's trial last season, that was like the turning point in Season 4. This is the turning point of Season 5. It really is. This has changed pretty much everything for King's Landing. And I think it's going to make King's Landing not only stronger, but a better, just a better nation, just a better, place overall. I think Tommen might become more powerful, because obviously, Cersei didn't even try to train Tommen, so maybe Littlefinger's going to train Tommen, maybe Jaime's going to come back. I'm really not sure what's going to happen there, but I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen with Tommen as well. Definitely Tommen. Margarey, I think definitely she's going to win this trial. We'll have to see what happens there, though. But overall, guys, let me know what you guys saw this episode. Overall, I thought this was the best episode of the season by far. Absolutely loved this episode. Again, I cannot wait for next week's episode. And that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for tonight's episode of Penny Dreadful. And I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.